Hey, it's Russ from Pilates Guy, and I'm talking to you today about why Pilates isn't just for pain. A lot of people come to Pilates because of pain. I did because of my back pain, and it helped me amazingly. But what I noticed during this was that actually Pilates really helps with sports performance. If you look at a lot of the top sports people in the world, professional sports people in the world, they're all doing some form of Pilates in their training. Like half the pro rugby teams have got Pilates reformers in their gyms, or they're going to Pilates classes, whether it's on the equipment or mat. It's integrated with all these people. Ryan Giggs put his long career down to Pilates. It is really, really good for sports performance and longevity in your sport. So avoiding injuries, less occurrence of injuries, those strains and pains tend to go away when we're regularly looking after ourselves like this. So I put together a routine that I would use, which is very sports specific. So some tough exercises in there. This will be fine if you're a beginner and pretty fit. If you've got any aches, pains and things like that, I'm not going to give many alternatives and adaptations and modifications today. We're going to kind of get straight into it. The other thing is that there's 5 main exercise sequences that we're going to do that help sports performance, and I'll talk you through each one as we're doing them so you can kind of exercise along, although I will talk throughout. And then I'm also just going to briefly talk to you about the 3 important planes of movement we need to take the spine through before exercise. So we need to warm our backs up properly. So you've got your flexion extension of the spine, so forwards and backwards. You've got your lateral flexion extension, which is your side bending, and you need to rotate the spine as well. And those ranges of motion we need to improve for the spine. So we need to try and get it to touch those toes, get the feet flat on the floor. We need to get a good range for our side bending, and we need to get good rotational through the spine as well to improve mobility, avoid injuries and that sort of thing. Specifically in contact sports, this little routine is going to be really, really helpful. So let's get cracking. So having a basic idea of Pilates before we get started is going to be good, because I won't keep repeating instructions either, but you can go to my previous videos, the principles and the Pilates setup, to make sure you kind of understand what I'm talking about as we work through. So the setup, Pilates standing setup, and the principles of Pilates is good to have an understanding before we get going, all of which you'll find videos on the channel. So we want to be set up really nice and tall in our good posture. You need those cores engaged, that belly button to spine pelvic engagement as well. And the first movement we'll go through is lateral flexion extension of the spine. So we're side bending, running the finger towards the knee, bringing ourselves back up to the middle, and then going the other way. We need to try and keep the hips nice and still, so we don't want them pushing out from side to side. With side bending, it's all coming from the spine. The legs, knees are relaxed, legs are relaxed, core's strong, breathing out as we run the finger towards the knee, breathing in as we come back to the middle. Staying tall, staying in our good alignment, our neutral spine all the way through, letting the head move with the rest of the body. Breathing out as we come over, core staying strong, breathing in as you come back up. We don't want to be leaning forwards, back, or twisting around, okay, none of that. We're stretching down the side of the body, strengthening the core, strengthening the back, improving mobility and posture. Breathing out as we come over, breathing as we come back up. It's probably good to do 15 to 20 each side, probably 20 each side is a good number. Core staying strong all the way through. Never let the abdominal engagement, pelvic engagement fade away. That's what's going to build the core strength. This is great for back pain as well. We're not really talking too much about pain today. We're just looking at that mobility of the spine, helping us avoid injuries, helping us move better. Shoulders staying back and down as we side bend. Breathing out as you come over, in as you come back up. Keeping it controlled. Running that finger down the centre of the leg. If you do find you can't stop the hips from moving, take your feet a little bit wider and just running that finger down the side of the leg. It should help us keep the hips still. At the bottom end of this movement, if you find your hip moves a fraction of an inch, don't worry about it too much. What we don't want is like a big movement of the hips. Okay, so we're doing roughly 15 to 20 each side is enough. Once we've finished our 15 to 20 each side, we'll come back to the middle, and then from here we're going to take our right foot in front of our left foot, like you're walking a tightrope. Now you might want to do this on a mat or on the floor, whatever's more comfortable for you. It's more easy on a floor because it's going to challenge balance a little bit. So all the weight is in your back leg. Don't lock out the knee. Keep the knee soft. Weight through the heel. Core's really nice and strong. Roll the shoulders. Lengthen up through the body, through the spine, so you're looking straight forward. Strong core, belly button in, pelvic muscles lifted. And we're going to start take those arms up into a Cossack position. So we're standing tall through that leg, through the body, lengthening up, nice and strong, shoulders back and down. And you need to focus right on the middle of the arm. and we're going to rotate the body around, twisting the spine. And then we're going to bring ourselves back to the middle, and then we're going to go the other way. So just like with the side bend, we stop in the middle each time, just letting the spine realign before we go the other way. Now with this rotational movement, you need these hip bones facing forwards all the time. Not so much of a problem when you go towards the front leg. That's not really an issue, the hip doesn't move. But when you go towards that back leg, the hip tends to move around quite a lot. So we need to keep those hips facing forward. Core strong, belly button in, pelvic floor lifted. Breathing out as we twist. Breathing in as we come back to the middle. Breathing out as we twist. Breathing in back to the middle. So keep going with that for me. Keep the core strong. It's important you keep pulling in the belly button, lifting the pelvic muscles. If you want to take this a bit further, you can take the front heel off the floor. You could lift that foot entirely off the floor, and you can bring that knee up in front of you if you want to. Go to whatever level you want to challenge that balance. Keep it nice and as stable as possible. This is going to strengthen individual legs now. So you're strengthening the leg that you're standing on, of course, improving your balance, improving how sure-footed you are. So if you're running on uneven ground, that sort of thing, rugby pitches, this is going to really help with not slipping, falling over, losing stability through the hips, which is likely to cause injury. This is going to help to strengthen. Cores have got to be strong, so your belly button's in all the time. We're breathing out as we twist, breathing into the middle. And you probably just want to do about 10 to 15 in each direction, staying tall with a strong core. Weight through the heel, knee staying soft. Don't lock out the knee at any point. And once you've done that 12 to 15 each side, you relax the arms, just move your legs around a little, give it a bit of a shake off, and then we'll swap the feet around, one foot in front of the other. If you've got a natural turnout, you can keep that natural turnout. With neutral spine, remember this is all part of the other video, so stand tall, core strong, and we'll bring those arms into that Cossack position. We'll start off with the foot on the floor, rotating the whole body from the waistline. So your head just moves with the rest of the body. You keep focused on the middle of that arm, lengthening up through the body. Weight through the back leg, not through the front leg at all. Core strong, knees soft. Breathing out as you twist. Breathing into the middle. Breathing out as you go the other way. And remember, the hips have got to stay forward facing, so we don't want those hips to move. What will happen, this back hip wants to twist around here. We need the spine to twist, so we want the rotation of the spine, so twisting from the waistline, but this hip has got to keep facing forwards. We don't want it moving. That's what we're trying to stop from happening. Breathing out as we twist. Breathing into the middle. Shoulders are back and down. Core is strong. Everything moving together. Improving that spinal mobility, reducing that chance of injury. Now, if you wanted to go a little further with this, remember you can lift the heel. You could have the foot just hovering above the floor, depending on how you do balances, or you can bring that leg up in front of you. Anywhere in between as well is fine. Rotating nice and controlled. The knee is staying soft. The core is staying strong. Particularly struggling with this today, having done squats and deadlifts before teaching a session and then making this video. So I'm suffering today. This is tough. Knee soft, core strong. All that weight through the heel. Nice and controlled. Breathing out as you twist. Breathing into the middle. Hips facing forwards. This is really improving that balance, that individual leg strength, that core stability, posture, mobility of the spine. You need to improve rotational mobility, especially if you twist and turn a lot for sport, change in direction. So this is great for golfers and tennis players, as well as rugby players, football players, martial artists, great for BJJ. All these exercises would be good for those kinds of sports, contact sports and any sport where you're not just running forwards or back. We should all do it though. So it's good for everyone. Good for life. Good for the sport of life. So once you've done 12 to 15, or 10 to 15, 12 to 15, each way, you can relax, roll the shoulders, shake the legs a little bit, move around. So the next exercise we do is a flexion extension of the spine, forward, backward bending motion of the spine. This is good for everyone, stretches all the back of the body, the back, the legs, good for mobility of the spine. It's going to help us get to towards touching those toes, or maybe a bit closer to the floor. So this is the exercise we normally use as well to bring us down to the mat in Pilates. So it's a really good exercise. So I want you to stand up in a good posture, like the Pilates setup, nice and tall, core really strong, neutral. We pull in the belly button, lift the pelvic muscles. Take a nice deep breath in at the top. Breathe out and just drop your head to your chest. Chin comes to chest, so you're peeling your neck over. Then we let those shoulders slide forward and the arms hang. And then we're peeling over towards the floor. Core strong. You've got to pull in that belly button, lift the pelvic muscles. Legs straight, but knees soft. The weight's in the front of your feet, so you're not pushing your bums back hinging. You're rounding the spine. Weight is hanging over your legs. And you come all the way down to your maximum stretch, wherever that might be. You might have your hands on your knees or your shins, or your hands might be on the floor. And you just ease into your maximum. You take a nice deep breath in. We breathe out and stretch. We breathe in again. And we breathe out and push through the front of the feet. The core's still strong, the arms and head still hang. Legs straight, knees soft, core strong, and you rebuild. When the hands get to the knees, you want a little tuck of the tailbone, and then you're restacking that spine back up onto that neutral pelvis. Bit by bit by bit, you come up, the shoulders roll back, head comes up with a nice deep breath in, you're back in your good posture. You breathe out, chin to chest, shoulders roll forward. Try and keep your tailbone slightly tucked under, so a little tiny pelvic tilt that way, but only a little bit, as you're peeling over towards the floor. Legs straight, knees soft, core strong, peeling over, weight in the front of the feet, easing down towards your maximum stretch, bit by bit by bit. When you get there, it's a couple of nice deep breaths in through the nose, out as you stretch. One more time, we breathe in. Out as we push through the front of the feet, head and arms are still hanging, core strong, legs straight, knees soft. Hands get to the knees, little tuck of the tailbone, we rebuild, restacking that spine, one vertebrae at a time, till you get to the top, roll the shoulders back, head comes up, nice deep breath in. We're doing 3 more. Breathe out as the chin drops, shoulders slide, arms hang, peel over towards the floor, legs straight, knees soft, core strong, weight hanging over those feet. Working your way down to your maximum stretch. Ease into your maximum stretch, wherever that is. Breathe in. Out. Stretch a bit more. Breathe in. Out as we come back up, pushing through the front of the feet. Pulling in those belly buttons towards those spines. Pelvic muscles engaged ideally. Hands at the knees, a little tuck of the tailbone. We're restacking that spine up. And we're tall. Nice deep breath in. Breathing out. Chin to chest. Shoulders roll, arms hang, head hangs, peel over, core strong, legs straight, knees soft. Ease your way down to your maximum stretch. When you get there, breathe in, out and stretch. Breathe in, out and push through the front of the feet, legs straight, knees soft, rebuilding. So we're doing about 5 or 6 of these. Really controlled exercise, really nice and slow. Stretches the entire posterior chain, improves that mobility of the spine. Very, very good exercise. This one we're not coming back up from. We breathe in. We're breathing out as we chin to chest, shoulders separate, peel towards the floor. Core strong, working our way down to that mat. We're going to take a few breaths at the bottom now. You can move around in this a little bit, rocking backwards and forwards through the feet. You can rotate from side to side. Always coming back to the middle, but keeping the legs straight, the knees soft and the core strong. From here, a couple of breaths then, and stretch, and again, and stretch, and then we're going to bend the knees, the hands come to the mat, we're going to come down onto our knees and then over onto our back. So we're going to start off with an exercise I use for mobility, for weight training, and if I was still playing rugby, this is an exercise I would definitely be using to complement rugby as well, especially when you get knocked off a ruck backwards, which used to happen to me a lot. But that's what we're working on. So we're sitting up nice and tall in our good posture. We're going to start with an exercise called the roller. So you start with those arms out in front of you, palms in, sitting nice and tall, belly button pulled in, pelvic floor's lifted. From here, you breathe in and tuck the tailbone under. You breathe out, and you're going to roll your spine down to the floor under complete control. Belly button's in, pelvic muscles lifted. And you lower your spine down one bit at a time. You don't suddenly drop. It's under complete control. Feet stay on the floor, legs stay still, and you take those arms overhead. And then the arms keep moving. As you breathe in, when the arms are long, you breathe out as you move. The head peels away. We bring ourselves up. Using the abdominals, the legs stay on the floor. We don't use any momentum. And then we come up tall and roll through the spine. So we start off with that roll up, but then we bring the straight leg roll up and the spine stretch into this. So we breathe in and tuck the tailbone. We breathe out, we C-shape the spine, core strong, and we lay the spine slowly down into the mat, one piece at a time. taking those arms along into a straight line with the body. Breathe in. Breathe out as the arms come over. When the arms are above, we pull the head up, shoulders up, and then each individual piece of the spine pulls away from the mat until we come up. The chin comes to the chest. We spine stretch for 1, 2, 3 pulses over the toes, and then we use the abdominals and we roll up through the spine tall, and then we repeat that. We breathe in and tuck the tailbone. We breathe out, C-shape the spine as if you've been pulled from behind the chest, underneath the chest. Abdominals strong all the time, belly button in, pelvic floor lifted. You lay down onto the mat, the arms go over. Now we're bringing the roll up over into this. So the arms go behind, and then we're going to peel the toes towards the head. Really point the toes towards your head. Push the knees down towards the mat, belly buttons in, core really strong. We're going to lift the legs into a straight leg lift. So those legs come up nice and straight up towards the ceiling. We carry on using the abdominals to take those legs over the head, and we lengthen those legs towards those hands. Straight legs if we can. Core has got to be engaged. From here, take a nice deep breath in. You breathe out, and you slowly start to relay your spine down onto the mat under complete control, just like the roller. So you can, if you struggle, take the arms down by your sides, but if you are able to, keep those arms overhead, and it makes it a little more difficult. So we don't use the arm strength to bring that spine really slowly back down to the floor, and those legs come back down, keeping the core strong. So as I mentioned, the arms don't have to stay overhead. When you come back down, the arms can come to the sides, but ideally they're overhead. And then once those legs are down, the arms peel away, the head comes up, and we peel each individual piece of the spine off the floor into a spine stretch. 1, 2, 3, and we rebuild the spine. We're tall, core strong. We breathe in, tuck the tailbone, breathe out, laying that spine slowly down into the mat, 1 vertebra at a time. Arms go long, toes point towards the head, legs come into a lift with a strong core. They controlled, come all the way overhead to the hands if they can, with the legs nice and straight. Nice deep breath in. We breathe out. Slowly take the spine back down to the floor under complete control. No sudden drops of the back or the tailbone. Take those legs down under control. When those legs are down, the arms move. When they're in front, the head peels away, shoulders peel away, bit by bit by bit. We bring ourselves up into the spine stretch. Core has got to be strong here. 3 pulses, rebuild. And then we breathe in and tuck the tailbone. We breathe out, C-shape the spine. Start to lay that spine down into the mat, 1 vertebrae at a time. Arms go overhead. Toes point, bring the legs up straight and take them overhead, peeling the spine away under complete control. Straighten those legs with the toes in the hands. Nice deep breath in. We're breathing out as we take the spine under complete control, 1 vertebrae at a time, not losing control at any point. And those legs lower down towards the mat. Keep the belly button in, pelvic muscles lifted, back under complete control. The arms come up overhead. In front, head comes away, shoulders comes away, peel each individual bit of the spine away, and we lengthen forwards into spine stretch, chin to chest, and we rebuild that spine. Let's just work through 1 more. We want to do about 8 of these all in all. Breathing in, tuck the tailbone, C-shaped spines. You breathe out, lay that spine. The higher the arms are, the harder this is. We want to work out of neutral, so there's a tiny space under the lower back, but not enough to get your hands all the way through. Core staying strong as we lift those legs. The last moment, that back will change position, and you come into your roll over. Lengthen the legs to the hands, stretching those legs as much as you can, even pushing those knees backwards. Core strong. We bring the spine slowly back down to the mat, 1 vertebrae at a time. Totally controlled and strong. Those legs lower. Nice deep breath in. Breathe out, the arms move, hands in front, the head comes away, shoulders come away. And remember, this is under complete control. No momentum, no throwing yourselves forwards. When we're up tall, we spine stretch for 3 pulses and rebuild up through that spine until we're nice and tall. So that is the roll up, roll over, spine stretch. So really, really good exercise for stretching the back of the body again. Very, very good for core strength. It's going to build brilliant mobility in the spine, prepare you for tumbling backwards and things like that. So then when you're ready, we're going to come over onto our sides. We're going to get an elbow nice and strong through the elbow here. Or you can do this with a fully extended arm slightly further away from you, but I quite like to do this on elbows. I think it's harder. You want those legs nice and straight. Top leg foot's in front, bottom leg foot's behind. You've got a nice straight line through the body here. Hand on the hip with the palm up. So we need to have some state of strength underneath here. You can see I've got a nice straight line. If I move my top out of the way, I'm strong. I have support under here. Those muscles are engaged. I can feel my lats and serratus engaged. Strong through the shoulder. Don't sink into this. Stay strong, okay? So the head's going to start off a natural curve through the spine. That palm is up. So from here, we're going to pull the belly button in. We're going to squeeze the glutes and lift the pelvic muscles. We're going to take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Just make sure we're in the right position, nice straight line through the body. Breathing out, we're going to bring ourselves up into a side bend. The arm comes over. You'll feel this work on the underside and into the lower back. 2 or 3 second hold, and we come back down. We're breathing out. As we lift, the head tips over the rest of the body. 2 to 3 second hold, and we breathe in as we're coming down. This is for 10. Breathing out as we lift, we hold 2 to 3 seconds. We're making this arch underneath the body here. It's 2 to 3 second hold, we're coming down. 3, 7 more. Breathing out as we lift. 2 to 3 second hold. Coming down. 6 more. Stay strong through that arm. Don't sink into that shoulder. If at any point you need to rest, you can rest. 5 more. Breathing out as we lift. Core strong, glutes squeezing, keep the chest open, hips stacked. We don't want anything to fail here. So we're keeping that chest open, hips are on top of each other. The arm just comes up and over, the shoulder blades are back and down, okay? You've still got a neck. 4 more. Breathing out as we lift. Core strong, squeeze the glutes, nice straight line through the body. Breathing out as we lift. In as we lower. 2 more. Breathing out as we lift. And 1 more. Breathing out as we lift. And we're going to come over onto the other side to get that done on the other side. So elbow under shoulder, palm down, strong through that arm. Legs straight, top leg foot in front, bottom leg foot behind. The alternative is you could stack the feet here, but I find it much more comfortable to put one in front, one behind. Arm is on the hip. Remember, we've got that support on this underside. We're not dropping into this. We're strong here. Hips are stacked, chest is open, core strong. Hand, palm up on the hip. Nice deep breath in. Core strong, glute squeeze. Breathe out. We lift. 2 to 3 second hold. And we come down. Breathing in. We breathe out as we lift. We don't want to stay down for too long. Breathing in as we lower. Breathing out as we lift. Remember, it's for 10. 2 to 3 second holds, 10 times. 7 more. Breathing out as we lift. Keep those hips stacked, chest open, shoulder blades back and down, strong through the shoulder. We're squeezing the core in the glutes as we lift. Breathing in as we lower. What are we? 5 more. Squeeze the glutes and the core. And 1 for luck. I think that's 10. Once you've done those, we will come into a stretch called the Mermaid, or mer person in this day and age. So you want to fold those legs, foot by the thigh, sit tall, the chest open. We take the hand, or the arm, sorry, over the legs, and the other arm comes up and over. We want to keep the chest open, get a long stretch down here, tight little stretch in here. And ideally, I want you to relax those hips as much as you can, so you can get your bum cheek, both bum cheeks, firmly on the floor. Now I can just get both bum cheeks on the floor here, but my right struggles because I've got a couple of issues with my body, several surgeries and whatnot, so back problems, so I do struggle, but you should try and get those bum cheeks on the floor, and that's no problem this side. We hold for about 15 seconds, take the pressure off, go the other way, just a breather, and then we go back into that stretching over that leg, the other arm comes up and over. If you struggle with mobility and you want to work on mobility, this stretch is really for you. It's a very tough stretch to get right. just about 12, maybe 15 seconds with each of those, and then we'll swap those legs over coming out of the stretch. So that foot's by the thigh. This is my bad side. This one I really struggle with. So we try and get those bum cheeks down, relax those hips as much as we can. The arm goes over the legs, the other arm comes up and over. The chest is staying open, getting that long stretch, tight stretch through the back. You're going to feel that QL stretching, that lower back, either side of the spine. Tough exercise for me, this. My left bum cheek is not on the floor, but that's where I'd like it to be, and I'm working on it. We ease off, going the other way. This is just a release, really, just a bit of a release off. And then we'll get back into that stretch one more time. Taking that hand up and over, palm facing forward, chest open. You want a bit of core engagement, but you want to try and relax these hips as much as you can. Use your mind-muscle connection just to relax those hips as much as you can. Try and get your bum cheeks on the floor. Every out breath, we just try and get that glute a bit closer to the floor. And we'll release. So once we've done that, we're going to come down onto our side. Stretch out a nice long line, head relax onto the shoulder, or you can have the head in the hand if you like, but you've got to maintain a natural line through the spine. Hips are stacked, spine is in neutral. You can have those fingertips in front. We're going to bend the legs, feet in line with your butt. We're going to straighten that top leg. Make sure the core's strong, pull the belly button and lift pelvic muscles. You probably get a little lift under the waistline. We need to maintain that. We bring that leg up, point the toes, and we're just going to start to draw some circles. We're doing 6 each way. Really nice controlled circles. It doesn't matter how big these circles are. Could be small circles, could be very big circles, as long as the hips don't move. Okay, no movement in that hip, no movement in the lower back. Core strong, belly button in, pelvic floor lifted. If this isn't comfortable for you with the head, just take the arm to the floor, head down onto the arm. And we're just doing 6 circles with the hips, nice and controlled. It's all about the control precision. Imagine you're drawing perfect little circles with the hip. This is helping us get strong, stable and mobile hips. So if you're twisting, turning, changing direction, sidestepping, anything that involves those hips, which is pretty much everything, it's important to take them through various ranges of motion. So once we've done 6, we just reverse and go the other way. That spine staying in neutral, just like when you're standing up tall in your good posture, exactly the same, neutral spine. And we're just drawing those circles, hips staying stacked on top of each other, no change there, core strong. Keep the fingertips in front if you like to keep stable. This is crucial for any sport. Hip work through various ranges of motion is really important to improve that hip mobility and stability. Avoid injuries. Avoid hip flexor strains, hamstring strains, back pain. Once you've done 6 each way, core strong. Once you've done 6 each way, you can let that leg come down in a nice straight line with the body. Give it a little bit of a shake around, but stay neutral, stay strong in the core. Keep those hips stacked on top of each other. Bring the leg up in front. Flex the foot so the toes point forward. From here, we're going to breathe out as the leg comes forward. Feel the stretch down the back of the legs. Point the toe and bring the leg back in line with the body. Flex the foot, bring the leg forward as you breathe out. Hips staying stacked. So just like we were with the circles, the hips here are not moving. The pelvis isn't moving at all. It's just the leg within that hip joint. When you bring that leg forward, you feel the stretch on the back of the leg. Point the toe, bring the leg back. Breathing out as you flex the foot, bring the leg forwards. Want to do 10 of these. Breathing in as you bring that leg back. If you want to just do a little bit more of a stretch, you can pulse. Little 1, 2, 3 pulse, point the toe, bring the leg back. Realise you can't see my foot in this video, it doesn't really matter. Flexing the foot, we bring that leg forward for a 1, 2, 3 pulse, point the toe, bring the leg back in line with the body. Let's just do 3 more of these. Breathing out, 1, 2, 3, point the toe, bring that leg back. So make sure those hips are staying stacked, make sure the back doesn't change position. This exercise is typical for people with weak cores who can't keep their lower backs under control. There shouldn't be any change in your lower back. It shouldn't be arching and flexing. It should be staying perfectly stable, not changing position at all. Core engaged, breathing out, out, out as we pulse in, as we bring that leg back, and we'll relax that leg down. You can bring the knee into the chest, or you can take the leg straight and just pull from the calf or the hamstring, just not behind the knee. Gently pull yourself forward to give you a stretch on the outside of that hip. We'll swap over to the other side. Lengthen through the body to begin with, nice straight line, head on the arm if you like, or in the hand, fingertips in front, bring the knees forward so your legs are bent, re-straighten the top leg, let it come to the floor. Those hips are stacked on top of each other, that doesn't change. Neutral spine, core strong, belly button in, pelvic floor lifted. When we're in that position, if you get that lift under the waist, we need to keep that top leg comes up in line with the hip, point the toe. We'll start our circles. So we're going to start those circles really nice and controlled. We should be feeling that on the side of your bum cheek, that glute medius. It's the one we're trying to strengthen. Core strong all the way through, so that belly button's in, pelvic floor's lifted. If you had the gap under the waist, it's not disappearing when you bring that leg up high. Imagine you're drawing perfect, precise circles. Core's nice and strong all the way through. Never relax the abdominals and the pelvic engagement, the core engagement, because that's going to get into your back. It's going to mean you come out of alignment, so it's no good for imbalances in the body, it's no good for posture. Nice big circle. Remember the circles, doesn't matter how big they are. Could be the size of a cup, tennis ball, could be the size of a football. Once you've done 6, it's just a change of direction. Could be the size of one of those big Swiss balls in the gym, doesn't matter. To me, just make sure they're circles and they're smooth, controlled, precise and slow. The slower, the more strength you're going to build and the better for mobility. Core strong. Don't worry about the timing of your breathing, just breathe. That's the important thing. Once you've done those 6 in each direction, you bring the leg down straight in line with the body and just let it relax. Give it a bit of a move around, a bit of a shake. Don't let anything else come out of position. Hips stacked, spine is neutral, head relaxed, core strong. The leg comes up in line with the body. Flex the foot forward for me. Best have the fingertips in front to begin with. Bring that leg forward till you feel the stretch. Point the toe. Bring that leg back in line with the body. We're doing 10 of these side kick. So you flex the foot, bring the leg forward. Feel the stretch down the back of the hamstring and the calf. Point the toe. Bring the leg back. Remember that hip doesn't move anywhere. It's just the leg within the hip joint. The pelvis isn't moving. We can pulse 1, 2, 3, point the toe, bring the leg back. We're doing 10, there's 3. Breathing out. Point the toes, breathing in. 6 more. Check those lower backs for me. Make sure they're not arching or flattening. Typically, when the leg comes forwards, the tailbone tucks under and the back flattens. When we bring the leg back, the back arches. If you've got that going on, keep the core really strong and don't let it happen. If it still happens, then make the movement smaller. You need to keep everything under control. So don't make the pulses or reduce the range of motion. Keep the hips stacked, keep the core strong. So this is stretching the back of the legs whilst also strengthening the hips, holding that leg suspended. All those stabilizing muscles are strengthening. That's going to help us avoid injuries, improve power generation. Once we've done those 10, the video cut out, so I've had to restart it. Once you've done those 10 repetitions, relax the leg down, give the knee a squeeze into the chest, or let that leg come forward, pulling from the thigh or the calf, just gently easing yourself forward into that, and just stretching through the back of the leg and that hip. Once you've done that, we're going to come over onto our backs. Last exercise we're going to do is a shoulder bridge. Now, shoulder bridges, I won't want these socks on for this. Shoulder bridges, crucial for spinal mobility, crucial for glute and hamstring engagement and function to make sure they're working well, and your hamstrings aren't compensating for the glutes. So they're really good for strengthening hip flexors, strengthening the glutes, improving spinal mobility. Also strengthens the knees. So this is really good for power generation from the glutes, which are our propellers. So when you're running, the power is coming from those glutes. The glutes are what is important when you're sprinting, when you're running, for that speed, jumping, that sort of thing, power generation. A lot of that is going to come from the hips and the glutes. So this is a great exercise. So we start off, we want those heels almost directly underneath the knees, feet and knees hip distance apart. That's only about a fist or a fist and a bit's width between those knees at the very most, okay? Heels as close as you can to those being underneath the knee, but not too close. Arms down by the sides. We want to lift up the head and just put it back down so your neck's long. We need to work out of a neutral spine, just like we So we will just do a few pelvic tilts, tucking the tailbone under, sticking the tailbone out, and just settle that down to neutral until you come to a natural stop. There should be a little gap under the back, not enough to get the hands all the way through. They shouldn't meet in the middle. Pubic bone, hip bone should be roughly level. That's a good idea that we're in neutral. It is important to work from neutral. Belly button pulls the spine, pelvic muscles lift, so you've got a really strong core. Nice deep breath in through the nose, and as you do, squeeze your bum, squeeze those glutes, tuck your tailbone under, and then as you breathe out, we're going to peel the spine away, one vertebrae at a time, slowly coming up into a shoulder bridge, only to a diagonal line from shoulder to knee. We don't want to come too far arching, we just want neutral, squeezing the glutes, squeezing the core, holding for a second or two, squeezing those glutes, nice deep breath in, we breathe out, and we roll each individual piece of the spine, one at a time, back down into the mat until the tailbone touches. We're in neutral, and we breathe in, squeeze the glutes, tuck the tailbone, breathe out, peel the spine away, one bit at a time until we come up into that shoulder bridge. It's very important, squeezing your glutes at the top, of course, breathing in, breathing out, peeling back down, relaying back down where we peeled that spine away from. So it's very important we get that peeling away motion and relaying motion of the spine, squeezing the glutes all the way. So primary muscles are the core, abdominals, the back are working, and also those glutes. And then when we get to the top, those hamstrings will kick in, the quads we want to try and relax, and we're coming back down. So there's a lot of other muscles moving and stabilizing, of course, but the main ones we're looking at here for sports are the glutes, the hamstrings and the core, and that spinal mobility. So we're breathing in, tucking the tailbone, peeling away. We want to do about 10 of these. At the top, squeezing those glutes, core strong. We breathe in, we breathe out, we're relaying that spine. If you'd like to make these more difficult, you can do this from the offset, or you can do this after a few repetitions. You're going to come up, breathing in, tuck the tailbone, squeeze the glutes, breathe out, bring yourself up. And then you've got to squeeze the supporting glutes really tight. Squeeze that glute, and the other leg can lift up towards the ceiling. You can lower down so the knees align, bring it back. You can do that 2 or 3 times, but you've got to keep squeezing this glute to support you up in that nice strong bridge, and you can bring that leg down. Then when you bring that leg down, you've got to squeeze that glute as the other leg comes up, and we do our between 1 and 3, probably about 3 lift lowers with that leg before we bring it back down, and we're in a nice strong bridge, and then we relay that spine back down into the mat. You can do that with the arms off the floor. That makes it a little bit more difficult. So we breathe in, tucking the tailbone, squeezing the glutes. We breathe out, we peel that spine away from the mat, coming up into that nice strong shoulder bridge. Squeeze the glutes and the other leg comes up, point the toe. You then bring the leg up and down 2 or 3 times, keeping that nice and controlled. Bring that leg down, squeeze that glute, the other leg comes up. Keep the bridge high. What we don't want is failing shoulder bridges. They've got to be as good as those first ones we did, despite the fact we're lifting the arms, lifting the legs, moving them around, and then we come back out of that bridge. So all the bridges that you do have to be this strong and stable. So if you're moving the arms or lifting the legs, nothing changes. Best way to check is put your hands on your butt, on those glutes, and then when you lift the other leg, this shouldn't get heavier in your hand at any point. And that's how you know you're then keeping your bridge nice and strong. No twisting around in the hips, no dropping down on your bum. Everything is strong and stable, even if we are taking those arms up and over or having them out in front. Squeeze the glute, lift the leg, doing your length and lowers. Everything is stable and strong all the way through, and we're rolling that spine down into the mat, peeling that spine away. So you want to do about 10 of those, of which any of those levels I've shown you, and then we'll bring ourselves up to sitting. In a nutshell, have a stretch the hips. I'm not going to take you through stretching, but those are the exercises that I think are really, really important for our sports performance, helping us avoid injuries, helping us generate more power from the core and the glutes, and having better spinal mobility. So it's going to help us move better and avoid injury. So hopefully you found that useful. Please get in touch if you've got any questions or feedback, and I'll speak to you again soon.